Welcome to the Blue Dragon Guild, a channel all about Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Baron.
And I'm Mackenzie.
Today we're going to discuss creating the perfect bad guy for your D&D game.
What is a bad guy? What does a bad guy do? Is every monster you fight a bad guy? I mean, it could be, but we're specifying when you make it to the end of a campaign, story, or detail, what is the end game? What is the guy that's driven you and your party to this point?
When it comes to bad guys, you want to take a look at each one of your players' characters. Figure out what makes those characters tick, figure out their backstories if they choose to have one. If you want more advice on using character backstories, you can check out the link to our video down in the description. For one of my games, I took an overarching bad guy and then I put in smaller, like, sub bad guys,
right,
whatever you want to call them, and peppered them throughout, and the parties had to interact with them. So each one of those is more specified towards each character's storylines. Mackenzie's character and Tommy's character in that game just met the bad guy that ties those two together.
Right. There, in your story, you have it set up to be, a lot of our characters are going to interact with people from our backgrounds, backstories, as you said, to fit in, to give you that, the tie-in, like, I did not know who was the master of my school, but they made Tommy. Yeah. That's our connection. We have an agreement together to be like, well, we need to, kill this guy, take him out. Yeah. You can tie in anybody's like that. Some people may be like an alleged dad or a figure, or this is the person that, was dangerous to your family or killed them and you had to go back and take them. It's all a story that you can fit in. This is a lot about, creating your own world to have that main bad guy. Could just be a bad guy that says, hey, pure destruction. And you're like, well, we don't want our homeland or anything destroyed. Yeah. Let's find a way to stop that.
Yeah. There's a lot of different stories, different avenues you can go. Starting out, you may not have a bad guy whatsoever.
Right.
I've done that before, and it's worked out pretty well because I was able to gauge every player, how they were doing things, and then I could just create who I wanted from that. If you have access to their backstories, you can do it that way too, as I stated previously. One fun thing that I've always enjoyed, your party, oftentimes, as most DMs will tell you, they'll focus on a random character. And usually it's not anybody you ever had planned to be important at all. It was just, Bob the Town Drunk. Well, Bob the Town Drunk is who they focus on, and now Bob the Town Drunk is like a level 20 warlock who has a pact with Orcus, and he's trying to secretly turn the whole town into undead. So there's a lot that you can do with just random things because your party will fixate on just anything and everything. It's just something that happens. Yeah.
You may think, this is going to be the bad guy and this will set it up. I'll do all these things that seem evil, seem bad, destroy villages, and they might be like, well, that is bad.
Yep.
This other random guy, so let's attack him. And you just go, okay, well, we're going to switch that up, or as you stated, there isn't one. I mean, I think of D&D a lot as either a video game broken down, or just a big long series of movies or episodes. You watch a movie, here's the bad guy. All right, we got to stop him, we got to beat him. We beat him, he's gone. Let's go on our second quest. You go through, nothing happens, and you start seeing hints of things. Movie number 3, bad guy's back. Yep. We didn't beat him, we didn't know. So you just kind of always tie it in because the reoccurring bad guy has a more longing effect, and it kind of like gives that, I remember that guy, I thought we beat him. He comes back stronger.
Yep. That's one thing. There's several monsters that are really fun for this. One in particular, the Slod, which Chris and I discussed in our Monster of the Month a few weeks ago. You can find that link right up here somewhere. And, with how the Slods work, you could just make the Slod just be your main bad guy, and it could change 3 or 4 times, and the party might not even know.
Yeah. This is what we're all talking about, when writing your own campaign. Now, a lot of people do out-of-the-book campaigns, and you'll see in most of those there is a bad guy, the main bad guy that you're fighting. If you talk about like Curse of Strahd,
Yeah, yeah.
you're setting up to fight Strahd. You'll fight some people in between, some vampire spawns, some of his minions, some mini bosses, things like that.
Yeah.
But your main goal is to fight, defeat him, stop his power, something along that nature. So there are those people in the book that you want to portray and get across for sure. This is a bad guy. This is what you need to figure out in game to stop. We had that with a couple other campaigns, like Couple in the Yawning Portal. And be like, well, this guy's wife, you need to go to this tomb. Or, Tomb of Annihilation, I feel the bad guy is the tomb itself. It's not a real person.
If you don't want to run a book campaign, but want some good ideas, pick one of those campaigns up. It's okay to take things from those and use them in your own game, your own world. Because, really, that's what it's there for. You don't have to run the book exactly as it is. You can cut it up, take things out of it, add things from a whole nother book if you really wanted to.
The favorite ones to me of the campaign is probably the reoccurring bad guy. Only because, it's fun to defeat the bad guy and be like, well, what's the next challenge?
Yeah.
I like that too, but I feel to me it's the reoccurrence, the familiar, the how this person come back stronger, kind of like the black dragon that we're fighting in the other one.
Yeah.
We've met her twice.
Twice.
So, we know we're meeting her again, and it's, wow, she got stronger. Wow, these things are different. Yeah. Whoa, the environment's different. It doesn't have that same boring feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I also like the recurring bad guy, because like you said, it's like, oh, cool, yeah, we killed him, but well, what happens now? That's what like the mini bosses are good for. The main bad guys, lieutenants, if you will. Yep. He sends them out to try and stop the party because the party is getting close to uncovering a secret or anything like that, stopping him. So that will give that players that good sense of, yeah, we beat this bad guy. But little do they know, right around the corner, there's another bad guy.
Yep. I would love to see a campaign where they set out and they got the bad guy and you're like, yeah, this is who it is. This is what it is. I know this guy was bad. You beat him and the guy's like, well, congratulations. You beat some of the people I sent out. And you're like, oh, I didn't even know who you were.
Yeah.
But you're sitting here, behind the scenes controlling all of it, which, would be a pretty interesting bad guy.
Ignore the man behind the curtain.
That's right.
So, Mackenzie, how would you play the part of the bad guy to make the party want to defeat them?
I would feel you would have to do things that people, even outside the game, would be like, well, that's wrong. You're stealing money from a village. You're killing people's, children. You're robbing to forge your empire that you're not doing anything of good for.
Yeah.
Take the outside game of what would make people kind of frustrated, add that in a little bit, hype it up, fiction it up, because, it's all, it's D&D. But to make them, and then, like you said, tie in characters' backstories of why would I have an interest in this? There's plenty of bad guys in D&D. Why am I interested in this one?
Yeah.
And you got to give them that information right then, have them feel out for it, make it worth their while. Maybe it's just a lot of money. A lot of players are just like, yeah, that guy can be a bad guy for 70,000 gold. We don't care. Do you feel the bad guy you make always fits into the environment, basically? Like, do you feel that's always a thing? Like, can you not just throw, like, here's an ogre in a swamp? Like, do you feel fitting it in makes more sense?
I'm going to say 50-50.
Okay.
As a DM, I really like to throw curveballs to my players, mostly because pretty much all of us, except Tommy, have played for more than 10 years. So we've all kind of got that idea of how things should work. I like to put stuff in out of the ordinary situations, like this monster that's always in the desert. Well, right now, you're up in the snowy mountains, and there it is.
Right.
It's always going to throw your players for a loop. So I really enjoy doing that. But as for like the main bad guy, no, I don't really feel their environment has to be specific. You may want to for the mini bosses, just because like, oh, well, the bad guy, he has like a fort set up here in this swamp, so there's a hag there in charge of it. Or, oh, we're in this desert, he's got a blue dragon there. And so now you have to fight the blue dragon. To me, I think that makes... I think that's a good idea to kind of follow. Obviously, you don't have to. But for your main bad guy, I mean, do whatever you want.
Drop him anywhere. I like that because you would feel if they put the mini boss there, they've kind of recruited the people from the area to take care of that, even though they're not there. I'd like to see boss battles when you're talking about that. I'm going to fight a normally land-based creature, but maybe have like a small swim that never really comes up.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? You're fighting them in a complete pond water environment. It may not help the boss, but it would be like, we weren't ready for this. We don't have any of the items for this.
Yeah.
Maybe it gives a complete different fighting experience by fighting something completely out of place.
It could even be that boss wasn't ready for that fight either.
Right.
So you're both at a disadvantage and you just see what happens. One other thing you might think about doing is just make the bad guy as evil as you possibly can. Just he strolls into town, kills everybody. For a lot of your in-game evil bad guy, you're not going to put him in the first session. No way. They'd annihilate the party. But it might be fun to put them in the very first session and have him beat the party, but not kill them.
Right. Gotta give them that mix and be like, hey, we gotta go back and get that guy.
And that way they kind of know what they're up against. They're like, man, like we're not ready for him. We need to train. We need to get better. So that way it gives them a drive to, number one, hunt him down, and number two, go on quests to get different items to just defeat the guy.
Right.
But as always, you want to look at your players. Try to figure out what kind of bad guy will give your players the most fun that they can have, as well as yourself. Right. Because at the end of the day, D&D is a game, and you want to have fun while you're playing. So thanks for joining our discussion for creating the bad guy for your D&D game. If you have some ideas that we didn't hit or we didn't even think of, let us know down in the comments below.
And if you'd like to see more D&D content, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, keep the dice rolling.